What's going on YouTube? Chase.actual here. Today we're going to be looking at UITextFields, UILabels, and UIButtons in iOS using Swift. So let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to create a new Xcode project, single view application. We're just going to name this application, why not? Click next, create it on the desktop is fine. Alright, so we're going to go into our main.storyboard and we're going to go ahead and throw in a couple of these objects here, if you can find them. There we go. Alright, so we're going to throw in a label, we'll throw in a button, and we will throw in a text field. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to take in input from this text field. When we click this button, we're going to display this label with the text in this text field. Simple enough. So before we do any coding, we're going to want to connect these objects to our view controller. So we're going to press Option, click View Controller to open up side by side. I'm going to go ahead and just comment outlets. Okay, and now we're going to want to control click and drag our text label, or text field rather, to our view controller. We're just going to name this text field. Now we're going to want to do the same control drag for our label. We'll call this text label. And finally, we'll do the same for our UI button. We'll just call this button. Now, also for this button, we're going to need to create a outlet action. So whenever we click the button, it actually does something. This just tells it that this button exists. So we're going to control drag again further down. Now instead of outlet, we're going to create an action. We're just going to call this button pressed. Okay, so we'll just go back over here to our view controller. We're done with our main.storyboard. So anything, this is the action we just created. So anything inside of this function will be executed whenever we press that button. So, and we want to take in text. So we're going to go ahead and create a variable. We're just going to say var, call this text, is equal to some kind of string. And it can be anything. You can take in float, integers, whatever. We're just going to assume it's a string by now, or work with strings. So first thing we're going to want to do is, when this button is pressed, we want to read the text field and assign it to a variable. And to do that, we'll simply say text is equal to our text field dot text, and we're going to force cast that as a string. And lastly, we're going to display text, which is now the text field, onto the text label. So display text on UI label. And to do that, we're just going to say our text label dot text is equal to our text, and voila, that should do it. We're going to go ahead and run this application, see what happens. Bring up our simulator here. Just take a second. I can drag it around. Alright. Alright, let it think about it. Alright, so we're going to bring up this, and I have it type as my keyboard, so we're just going to say test and click the button, and this label changes automatically to it. Then we can just delete this, hello, and so on and so forth. It doesn't really matter. Of course, if the text is longer than the label itself, then you can, then it's not going to show the whole thing. But if that's the case, we can just go over here and make this label larger just by doing that. We'll center it up. Go ahead and run it again. And this time, whenever we put in too much or so, or more than last time, it'll show the whole thing. So, you might be wondering, hey, wait a second, we kind of just use this variable we created to pass, the data to and fro. Couldn't we simply just let the label text equal the text field text? And that is true. We can just simply, we don't even have to have a variable. We can just simply write the text label.text as the text field text. But, it might be in good fashion to go ahead and start using variables, because obviously during your real application, you're going to want to store that data somehow and act upon it. But just to show you that this works, we'll go ahead and run this again one last time. And just like before, we can type in some text, click the button, and boom, there we go. Works just like a charm. Alright, well, that's going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. Consider leaving a subscribe if you enjoy the content, and we'll see you next time.